prove yourself that yes, you have a lot of things to learn, and you can also do a lot of things in science and technology. With this, I will not take much of time, but I welcome all of you to this platform called Vigyan Sarvatra Pujyate, a Science Week Festival from 22nd to 28th. There will be a lot of competitions for you students, and then participate, and a lot of exciting prizes for you. Beyond that, you will also get to know many interesting scientific luminaries in the next 7 days. So with this, I welcome all of you again and be a part of the science movement. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite Professor Vibhuti Bhushan Mishra, President, Odisha Bigyan Academy, to address the gathering and inspire everyone.
मंचासी नथिबा अतिथि वृंद तथा अन्य माने एवं कोनी कोनी पिला गुड़ाक स्टूडेंट्स जो मैंने आछंती आज बहुत खुशी लगुच देखिकी जे अनेक स्कूल अनेक पिला आछंती जोड़ा सार कही गले एठी जना पड़ुची जे ओडिसा रे विज्ञान भविष्यत कौन तमान को श्रद्धा तमान को इच्छा जोटा एठी आनीची सो इच्छा जो आसीच सेठी जना पड़ुची जे आम भविष्यत विज्ञान भविष्यत ओडिसा रे बहुत बेसी आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव 75 years of इंडिपेंडेंस 75 वर्षर स्वाधीनता अवसर रे जो करा होची ए जो गोटे सप्ताह धरी विज्ञान मेला जो होची जोड़ा आम सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट एवं आम स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी डिपार्टमेंट मिलिकी करछंती तापई जो 75 वर्ष आम स्वाधीनतार स्वाद चाखीचे तापई मु आपण मानकु समस्त अभिनंदन दउची एवं धन्यवाद करी जे आपण मान को भी किसी कंट्रीब्यूशन रही आम ओडिशार तथा भारतर विज्ञान को आगे नेबारे विज्ञान सर्वत्र पूज्यते कहीं पूज्यते एइथिपाई जे आम चारि पाखरे विज्ञान अछि आमे सकाळु उठिबाटू राति सोइबा जे जदि आमे निजको निजे एनालिसिस करबा किछि ना किछि विज्ञान भित्तिक कार्यक्रम निश्चित भाव रही आम चारिपाखे हो कि आम शरीर भितर भी हो केवल विज्ञान ही अच्छी जोटा कि समय क्रमे आम उद्भावन करें आम जानी पारिचे एवं भारत विषय जदि आम कहबा ताले भारत रे अनेक किछि एई 75 वर्ष भितर आविष्कार होती जोटा कि एई 7 दिन भितर आपण माने देखि पारिबे अनेक किछि रखाई एक्जिबिशंस रखाई एवं जहाँ भी आम आज पाई आज मुझे कहूँ आपण मैंने समस्त शुणी पार्टी से भी टेक्नोलोजी अच्छी से भी विज्ञान अच्छी जहाँ भी आम पाइचे जहाँ भी आम करुचे सबुत विज्ञान अच्छी गोटे छोटिया उदाहरण देवी स्मॉल पॉक्स मैडम बेटर कहे वैक्सीन आरंभ है 1500 मसीह 1500 एवं वैक्सीन डिस्कवर है 1795 रे 1795 मसीह वैक्सीन डिस्कवर है एडवर्ड जेनर बोल कि जड़े साइंटिस्ट डिस्कवर कले तो 1500 रु चाइना रु आरंभ है 1798 1795 डिस्कवर है वैक्सीन किंतु आज आम जो पैंडेमिक को देखा कोरोना पैंडेमिक देखा जोटा कि आज का डेट बर्निंग प्रॉब्लम है अच्छी आम वैक्सीन डिस्कवर कले 4 मास रु 6 मास भितर अन्य देश भी नुह भारत निजे इंडियन साइंटिस्ट माने आमर वैज्ञानिक माने गवेषणा करी वैक्सीन बाहर करते कोवैक्सीन जोटा कि आम समस्त भुवनेश्वर बासिंदा नहीं सो एटा कहार ए जो उपहार एटा हला विज्ञान रो प्रजुक्ति रो तेणु आपण मान को मु अनुरोध करी प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ विज्ञान एकेडमी हिसाब रे मोर मुख्य लक्ष्य है विज्ञान प्रचार एवं प्रसार आम संस्थार लक्ष्य एटा तेणु सबु छात्र छात्री को अनुरोध करी जहाँ तुम करुच एनीथिंग यू डू जहाँ तुम करुच टिके विज्ञान भित्तिक कोणरू अनुसंधान करिवो साइंस रो कौन एप्लिकेशन अच्छी देखिबो कोठी ना कोठी निश्चित भाव साइंस अच्छी एवं सेही साइंस जो तुम माइंड भितर इनकॉर्पोरेट करके रखिबो आमे जदी तुम मन भितर के तुम मन रे सेही विज्ञान चिंताधारा को रखि परिबो ताहले देखिबो आज नहले काली निश्चित भाव तुम जड़े वैज्ञानिक होके बाहर पिला मु विज्ञान पढ़ी किंतु मु विज्ञान एवं प्रोफेसर की रिटायर कली आज प्रेसिडेंट अच्छी विज्ञान एकेडमी रो किंतु मु हेली गोटे वैज्ञानिक बाय चांस नॉट बाय चॉइस कहीं ना मोर इच्छा था मेडिकल पढ़िया पाइली एमएससी कली एमएससी कला कौन करी लेक्चरर हेली पीएचडी कली लेक्चरर हेली एवं किछिटा गवेषणा कली किंतु जो पिला तम भितर कुनी पिला जी मूलरू चिंता करिबो जे नाइ मु विज्ञान पढ़ी एवं वैज्ञानिक हेबी किछि आविष्कार करी सी पिला सेमिति पिला 10% पिला हेले भी विज्ञान बहुत आगे को जाई परिबो ओडिशा कॉन्टेक्स्ट एवं भारतीय कॉन्टेक्स्ट से जहाँ मृत्युंजय सर कहले गुड़ा एग्जिबिशन्स अच्छी गुड़ा कंपिटिशन्स अच्छी तुम समस्त को मु शुभेच्छा जनइबी एवं आशा करी समस्त सबुत पार्टिसिपेट कर थैंक यू वेरी मच
Thank you, sir. The history of science itself is so inspiring. Now I invite Professor Ashok Kumar Das, Vice Chairperson, Odisha State Higher Education Council, to address the gathering.
Good morning, all the distinguished people on the dais and all the distinguished people sitting in the auditorium. Tame sabu chhatra chhatri mane bhi distinguished people. Ajipin, all of you are distinguished people. I am very happy, mate very khushi laguchi ethike asikiri ete din pare mu ete students gote sathile gote auditorium re dekhuchi 2 वर्ष छात्र मानक एकाठी देखिबार सुविधा हो नथिला विज्ञान सर्वत्र पूज्यते आपण माने तम माने भाव केते बदलिलानी मु जते बेले छुआ थिली हमकु पढौथिले विद्वान सर्वत्र पूज्यते नाउ विद्वान ताकू एई मते इने 70 वर्ष बयस 10 वर्ष रे पढिथिबी तो 60 वर्ष रे विद्वान सर्वत्र पूज्यते हैज बिकम विज्ञान सर्वत्र पूज्यते काहे की हला एमती यू सी व्हाट इज द रीजन फॉर दिस आपण जदि गत 7 दशंधिर भारतर इतिहास देखिबे मूलरू आमे निज गोडरे ठिया हेबाकू चेष्टा करूथु जने बहुत बड़ मनीष कहिथिले 1957 रे बोधे होमी जहांगीर बाबा कहिथिले कि तम पाखे रिसोर्सेस न थाउ तम पाखे पैसा न थाउ जोटा भारत रे नथिला रिसोर्सेस थिला बट रिसोर्सेस आमे व्यवहारिक ढंग रे बाहर करि पार नथिलु लॉट ऑफ मिनरल्स दे वेयर अंडरग्राउंड से कहले कि तमर जदि पाखे विज्ञान अछि मुंडरे बुद्धि अछि ताहले एई जो दीटार अभाव को तमे निश्चित भाव रे पूर्ण करि परिबो श्रद्धेय विभूति बाबू कहले कि विगत 60-70 वर्ष भितर आमे कौन कौन करिछु बहुत जिनस करिछु आजिर दिन रे न्यूक्लियर रिएक्टर ठिया होछि न्यूक्लियर फ्यूजन जोटा समुद्र पानी रु एनर्जी बाहर करिबो परपेचुअली ता ऊपर काम चलछि हुए तो as we talk things are happening पृथ्वी रे अन्य देश मानकर 1/10 पैसा रे आमे सैटेलाइट रॉकेट रे बसी ऊपर को छाडुछु आमर डिफेंस डिपार्टमेंट निजर रिसर्च करी बाहर करूची मिसाइल्स आपण ओडिसा रे मिसाइल केंद्र अछि जानुचंती विभिन्न प्रकार मिसाइल इक्विवेलेंट टू व्हाट इज बीइंग डन एल्सवेयर बाहरुची सो विज्ञान ये सब करिची एंड सो इट इज वेरी जस्टिफाइड मु एक्चुअली मृत्युंजय को आगो पचारली ये विज्ञान सर्वत्र पूज्यते कोउठ आसिला आमे व्हाई आर वी इंटरफियरिंग विथ व्हाट आवर सेजेस हैव टोल्ड बट आई थिंक नाउ लुकिंग एट यू एंड लुकिंग बैक एट द लास्ट 60-70 years I feel ठीक है all this आत्मनिर्भरता has come out of विज्ञान mostly last 6-7 decades in India's development has been standing on your own feet in the field of technology तमे आपण देखंतु आमे इने गाडी तयारी करछु आमे स्टील तयारी करछु आमे सुपर अलॉयज तयारी करछु आमे 60 वर्ष तळे मो गां रे मु जते बेले गाधियो को जीबी पानी आनिया को जीबी they will go to the तालाब पोखरी सेइटु उठेई कि पानी आनिबे आजी रिवर्स ऑस्मोसिस गोटे कैंडल रखुचंती ता भितरे 3टा कैंडल भितरे पानी जाउची and you are getting drinkable water. आमे स्कूल रे सरकार दउचंती फिल्टर्ड वाटर फिल्टर्स दउचंती केते परिवर्तन होउची मु जते बेले पिला थिली 20 वर्ष बयस रे बाहरे थिली मते फोन करिया को ठिया हबा पड़तला 8 घंटा आजी मु पॉकेट रे गोटे मोबाइल धरि के बुलुची मु अंडमान ने थिले भी I can phone and find. So remember that science has done wonders and science has seen the way. गोटे छोटिया ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है साइंस आउ कला आर्ट्स ह्यूमैनिटी सोशल साइंस आउ फरक नहीं साइंस कौन इट इज ए स्ट्रक्चर्ड मेथड ऑफ इंक्वायरी टू फाइंड आउट थ्रू एन एक्सपेरिमेंट थ्रू एन ऑब्जर्वेशन थ्रू ए वैलिडेशन find a fact and give a model which fits all other phenomena. Whether you are looking at a crowd, how the crowd will behave, whether you are looking at tribe, how they will behave, how their economy is working. Mathematics and science has pervaded every field. So science are limited heikri nahi ki it is limited to physics, it is limited to chemistry, it is limited to biology. Agically, social scientists, the economists are coming up through scientific investigation, scientific inquiry, scientific spirit is a methodology and it is a way of life. आमर पुराना आदिम काल रे 3 मिलियन वर्ष तले लोक अग्नि आविष्कार करथिले तापरे अग्नि डाउ केमती खाइबा जिंस तयारी करिवे व्यवहार कले तापरे ताकू व्यवहार करी स्टीम इंजन तयारी कले तापरे ट्रेन चलला इंटरनल कंबस्टन इंजन आसला कार आसला तापरे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी आसला मोर मन अछि गोटे छोटिया छुआ गांव आसतिला 20 वर्ष तले मते कहूची बल्ब देखि सार या भीतर केते तेल पकैचंती केते समय जाई ये जळी परिबो एडिकी टिकेटा एते तेल कोठी अछि आई रियलाइज व्हाट साइंस हैज डन सो मोर आपण मानकू एतिकी उपदेश एडवाइस सजेशन एज ए फ्रेंड एल्डरली फ्रेंड द मेथड ऑफ साइंस इज थ्रू इंक्वायरी प्रश्न पचारिबे केमिति हला कोन हला काहे की हला कोठी हला केते बेले हला व्हाट व्हाई व्हेन वेयर हाउ समुद्र पानीटा नेलिया कहीं देखा जाउची आकाशटा नेलिया कहीं की हला मोर गोटे छोटिया 5 वर्षर नातुणी अछि से मो दिने पचारला बिटवीन शुक्र आ बुध गोटाए कहीं की ठंडा आ बुधटा कहीं की ठंडा आ शुक्रटा कहीं की गरम व्हाई इट इज सो इट टुक मी बाय सरप्राइज कि आजिकली 5 वर्षर बयस रे पिला से छोटिया बहिरु ये पढुचंती कि कोठी हीट ट्रैप होची and कोठी हीट रिफ्लेक्ट हे जाउची वंडरफुल थिंग्स सो ऑलवेज रिमेंबर मो तम मानको भितरे पिला मानको भितरे एज ए टीचर आई हैव सीन यू आर ऑलवेज अफ्रेड टू आस्क क्वेश्चंस टू ए टीचर डरिकरी आले टीचर फायरिंग कर दबो बेसी प्रश्न पचारले इट इज नॉट ट्रू रिमेंबर क्वेश्चंस आर नेवर फुलिश द आंसर कैन बी फुलिश तो आपण माने बहुत लोक को सुनिबे तो नेवर फियर टू आस्क ए क्वेश्चन एंड इफ यू ऑलवेज व्हाटएवर यू सी प्रेशर कुकर टा काई की चंचल हो जाउची पचार च माऊ केबे मदर विल एक्सप्लेन रिमेंबर ऑलवेज टू आस्क ए क्वेश्चन व्हाट इज हैपनिंग हाउ इट इज हैपनिंग वेयर इट इज हैपनिंग व्हाट कैन आई डू टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस बेटर एंड द ब्यूटी ऑफ साइंस is it should be able to we should be able to explain to you in language that you understand the most complicated things. If I am not able to explain to you in the language that you understand, even a small child understands, then I have not done science because I have not understood. So remember, there is a glory in science. Bartaman ajiro dinre jete problem we are facing due to the climate, due to the change of climate, Omicron, madam will talk to you about the corona, COVID-19. You are the people who will face it and who will solve these challenges. So remember, the only advice I can give you, which I have followed, ask a question. Always ask a question, and through the answers, you will do good science. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for raising a very important issue. Science stems from curiosity and our ability to question everything. Now I invite Dr. Sangamitra Pati, Director, ICMR, RMRC, Bhubaneswar, to address the gathering.
So first of all, wish all the students here a very, I would say, not only 1 week or 2 week, everyday science, because that is something, some spirit we must inculcate, as already Professor Das has told. So distinguished guests on the dais and all the children here and all the esteemed guests of the dais. First of all, just gote problem Ashok Das sir ko pore kahile, he speaks so well that whatever I say, it will not only appear to you little bland, also maybe less interesting. So normally I always avoid Ashok sir ko pore kahiba pai, but kintu sabu bele mu dekhe mor sabu Ashok sir ko pore thae. But I take this opportunity, in fact sir ko sabu speech re kichi na kichi sikhiba ko thae, and I'm sure all of you must have been energized. So how do you feel to come after 2 years? Great, isn't it? Because I feel myself very energized to see all the young and enthusiastic faces here. Sometimes people ask me, because I used to teach in medical college, so what are the characteristics of a good teacher? I told good teachers are not there. Good students make good teachers. Because when the student is enthusiastic, when the students are burning with curiosity, when the students' face look at you, seeking some answer, the teacher themselves get motivated. In fact, mu nijo student time re jete padhi nathili, teacher tele tatu adhika padhili, because I know I have to answer all the questions from my students. So that is what I feel. Teaching science, learning science, both are mutually enriching and both are mutually, I would say, encouraging to each other. So 2 ବର୍ଷ ପରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଏଠି ଦେଖୁଛି, never ever we had thought when COVID came, because all of you are much more COVID literate than me. I don't have to tell you what is COVID, what is RT-PCR, what is CT value, what is oxygen saturation. So this is something COVID-19 has taught us. Science can be a part of your life. Because did we ever know what is RT-PCR? Most of us didn't know, isn't it? Did you ever know what is rapid antigen test? No. But COVID-19 had taught us. So crisis ro gote opportunity thai, it makes you learn. It makes you survive. And no matter how broken we are in any pandemic, we always learn how to again come back. Why? Because resilience is something which is unique to human DNA. Any problem, any crisis, we have survived. We have survived Spanish influenza, we have survived H1N1, we have survived SARS, and now we have survived COVID-19. But how we have survived, that depends upon not only our ability to cope, but also our ability to innovate. So what did we do? We used science and technology for innovation, for addressing the challenges which required timely action. And all this happened because of, most important I found, or all of us must have realized, teamwork. There is no I in science. Nobody can say I discovered or I invented nowadays. It has to be we, and we. And here in COVID-19, all the institutions, all the sectors, be it NGOs, be it community health worker, be it students, be it media, be it researchers, all had their own role to contribute, be it government. So first of all, I would say that COVID-19 has taught us how can we collaborate. And not only collaborate, how can we complement each other? We don't need to duplicate. Science is something we don't need to duplicate. How can we complement with each other so that whatever we are doing can be consolidated? And third is, science has to be cross-disciplinary. As sir told, it's no longer science is physics, chemistry, biology, or technology, or communication technology. It's pervasive, it's cross-cutting. Everybody can have a space in science, be it space, technology, anything. And fourth is, please do not forget, science must be used for clients, that is for a better society, better humanity, and a stronger health. So whatever we are doing, many times I have seen young startup students or young startup entrepreneurs coming and telling, we want to do this, we want to do that. Then I ask them, how do you see the end product helping people? How do you see the end product making lives better? You must have seen many ads making lives better, making our society better. So please, whenever you think of any career in science or any product in science or any innovation in science, always think how it can make our life or my colleagues' life or my community's life better. It's a better society, a stronger society. So ultimately, science must be benefiting or contributing for the humanity. And most important, we may design a very great innovation, but if it costs lakhs or crores of rupees, then common man cannot use. So cost is something we should not forget, because we are living in a country which has got limited resources with population being very high. So any product you design, as Sir was saying, in every school there is a very cost-effective filter. So very small, it may be the product may be very small, but it has to be cost-effective, because anything that is high cost or anything that is beyond our limit, it may not be acceptable. I always give the example, I do not know whether you have seen the exhibitions or not. From my very childhood, I have been visiting to many exhibitions and fair. I always see the exhibition of a roti maker. I don't know whether you have seen it or not. So every exhibition I see, one stall would be there exhibiting the role of showing how a roti maker works. And at the same time, there would be other end products also. Till now also they are struggling to get it used by the community, while after even microwaves, washing machines all came after that, but they are very popularly used. The bottom line is that whatever you design, it must be culturally acceptable. So whatever product we design, it has to be acceptable or it has to be used by the client. So please keep the client mindset also in mind whenever we are thinking of any product. That is what COVID-19 has taught us. And the most important, my humble submission to all of you would be that nowadays in this digital literacy or in this world of high internet communication, the world is very small, but at the same time, I feel the illiterate of this century will not be the one who cannot write or read, rather the one who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So that is what COVID-19 has taught us. We unlearned handshake and learned namaste. Why? Because it was needed. Now again, we are unlearning digital learning and coming back to classroom learning. So always be resilient in your life, not only to learn, but also unlearn, and be ready to relearn also if it is required. And you being the students are the future of the country. Not only country, I would see the globe, because India has shown the world that we can do it by making India technology. And you are the drivers, or you can spearhead, or you can consolidate or leverage on what India has achieved in the last 2 years, because the country needs you as the harbinger or as the spearheader of science. And I can see that each one of you can be that ambassador and can contribute in your own way so that India emerges not only as a pandemic or any crisis prepared country, rather than a pandemic resilient nation. Please try to think of resilience so that we are prepared all the time. With these words of, I would again congratulate all of you for coming back to classroom, and I hope that the pandemic should become endemic very soon and we can continue with our everyday life, but being all the time remembering with caution. So my very best wishes to all of you, and I sincerely hope that you will think making a career in science, be it as a researcher, be it as an academician, be anywhere, but the spirit of science which has been ignited in this platform should grow ever and ever and glow forever. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam, for your inspiring words. Learn, unlearn, and learn again, and be resilient. Now I invite Professor Suddha Sattva Basu, Director, CSIR IMMT, to address the gathering.
Dignitaries on the dais, and my dear students, those who have come here, or if anybody is attending this online, welcome to here at the program Vigyan Sarvatra Pujyate. I would start saying what Professor Ashok Das just mentioned, adding that to what that there is a kahawat, Sadeshe Pujyate Raja, Vigyan Sarvatra Pujyate. So you have to understand the meaning that if you are a Raja, locally you will be, people will recognize you or bow down to you. But if you are a Vidwan or a Vidyan, or if you are a learned person, everywhere in the world, people will bow down or people will recognize you. That is, of course, is a personal achievement. But here we are here, overall, what we are trying to understand is that overall the science, research and development is so important in our life. And the continuation of the civilization, continuation of the earth or the universe is equally important if we do science and engineering in the right direction. The celebration of Vigyan Sarvatra Pujyate, we have to remember what India achieved, ancient India achieved long time back, starting with Aryabhatta in sometime in 5th century, who was an astronomer and great mathematician. Brahmagupta, if you have all know about Brahmagupta, is little later in 7th century, who gave the concept of zero and the negative number. Arabs, who actually started algebra, actually learned the concept of zero and the operation of zero, that 0 into 1 or 0 multiplied 1 is 0, is the concept which is floated by Brahmagupta. So Arab actually learned from Brahmagupta or India at that time that how, do a lot of arithmetic at that time. Bhaskaracharya and his daughter, Lilavati, both of them actually worked on all algebra, geometry, and how to simultaneously solve algebraic equations. They gave, so it is not that it happens on 7th century, but starting from 7th century till the 12th century, this is all developed, how all these operations can be done. Then around the same time, I'm talking about 7th century or so, you must have heard name of Susruta and Charak. Susruta and Charak both came up with, both of them, one after other, the health science, the medical science, and the pharmacy, the medicines. Charak, she has written down many on this. Then if you come to the latter part, with the colonial rule, end of the colonial rule, India has produced great scientists, and later part after independence, there's a lot of development has taken place in the colonial, end of the colonial era, with starting with Sir J.C. Bose, Sir C.V. Raman, S.N. Bose, Meghnad Saha, Bhatnagar, and then while India was about to becoming independent country, and later Vikram Sarabhai, Vishweshwari of course started early, Homi Bhabha, and then of course many of you must have seen Dr. Abdul Kalam. All of them together, and many others, I'm not able to mention all the names, built India, whether it's a defense, whether it's atomic energy, whether it's a space, every sphere you take, their contribution is enormous. And how this contribution is possible? Because you have to take science and technology and engineering very seriously. You have to do a basic science, you have to do research and development of a product, device, or a process. Then you have to scale it up and put in the pilot scale, and then you have to really do build a rocket to send in the space, or you build atomic reactors to get the nuclear energy, and so on and so forth. These are or you build a dam, bridge, or a building, and so that your transportation becomes easy. So this has been going on, and in the future, this pandemic has taught us that when you are in trouble, you are on your own. It's maybe because of geopolitical situation, Maybe because there is a lockdown and supply chain management issue because of the lockdown, shutdown. And so you have to be dependent locally too much, whether it's API, which you get your pharmaceutical drug, whether it's a vaccine or even simple things like PPE kit, that personal protection that you get, though you're wearing mask or you're wearing a gown or whatever. All these are even important, even sanitizer. The bottle for dispensing sanitizer was not available. It is not built in the country. It was coming from outside. And we would not get a dispenser. There are actually 11 pieces in the dispenser. When you press it, it comes out. Today, everybody's having it. In the March of 2020, or you can say a little later, May of 2020, there is no dispenser in the country because they were stopped coming from our neighboring country, and we do not know how to dispense it. Only you have to push like this, the one. So there are 11 components in the dispenser, which is made of plastic, and you put together to get a dispenser. And then, of course, some of the people from science and technology have come up with, then dye is produced and dispenser is produced. Now today you have got a lot of dispenser available, which is within 6 months the dispenser was available in India by November 2020 or December 2020. So these are small thing. Look like dispenser is easy to make, but you required certain engineering to be done to get the dispenser. So starting with a very small and then complicated, whether you are talking about medical diagnostics that you require to make, which is maybe very sophisticated, you require to have a resources within India, built within India, and of course, remember, it is not at the expense of the quality. We require to benchmark our product at par with the world quality, if not better than that. Because what we envisage today is that tomorrow, why not India make softwares, which Microsoft is making in US and we are buying it? Why not we make computer and we sell it in outside? We make the chip and then the computer, the microprocessing chip that I'm talking about. Why don't we make cameras, or why don't you make LEDs? Why don't you make all the gadgets that we are buying? Why don't you, which will be made in India, and then we sell it out, of course, for our own country, our own people, and then why not selling it then outside and bring, reserve, our bank reserve or good economics will be there in the country. So that is possible only if you do science, engineering science, and then technology, and then of course these possible. So all the countries that you are talking about, let's say take a case of Korea, in 30 years back you will not buy anything from Korea coming. Today you buy Samsung or LG, right? Whether it's a refrigerator, mobile phone, or it is a TV, the display unit, you buy it. And so it is quite possible, and they have done it. I'm just giving an example of Korea, but 40 years back it could have been Japan, 50 years back it could have been US, and so on and so forth. So we have to see what we required locally, and we have to build that. And we have to have that, whether it's a human resources, whether the facility creations, whether it is transport requirement for the better engagement of the scientists from different region, and so on and so forth. And importantly, also at the same time, we have to know our culture. Like, how many of you know about Chandrasekhar Samanta of Odisha? Do you know about him? Do you know that in 18th, 19th century, he had a device, a simple device with a bamboo that you could make the distance between earth and sun? So all this heritage that I just talked about, starting with Aryabhatta, today, still today, Dr. Abdul Kalam, and tomorrow maybe one of you, is important to know our heritage and take this forward and do better than what they have done. And one important part in our learning process is a rote learning, that we learn and then we produce on the piece of paper, then we get a good marks, and we think that he is the best or she is the best student. It is actually not. When you do science and when you do research, it is at a different faculty that you required, and unfortunately we are not able to actually pinpoint or identify person because of the pressure, the numbers that we have, the examination system that we have is difficult for us to find out a person who is having good quality or good sense that he would be a good scientist. But even then, India is producing extremely well-known scientists over the years and will be producing. And there are schemes in CSIR, there are schemes in DST, DBT, ICMR to identify the young budding scientists to different schemes, starting with the school level and then going to the college level, university level, and then of course in higher studies level. So there are schemes which is available. I'm sure all of you should be knowing about these schemes and should participate, whether it's a Olympiad, whether it's a Kishore Vigyan Yojana that we have, KVPY, and many others. So all of you should strive to participate and show your caliber. It is not about writing exam on maths, physics, and literature or science. It is about creation. Those who are into the field of science and technology, a creative mind, that's what you require to do. And creative mind happens when you take a pause and start thinking, start asking questions to yourself. Okay. Lastly, I want to just give you an example. It's not an inspiring example. Don't quote me. I'm not a propound. I do not propound war. But the fact is that when Alexander came, he had horse-driven soldiers who are much agile than the one we were using, elephant. So there comes then R&D and research, starting from Alexander time. When Tipu lost war to East Indian Company, the Scottish soldier came from England or United Kingdom now, and they were very good. They had a special sword and they had a special pistol, which is better than the pistol we had at that time. Even East India Company did not have that. So they brought Scottish soldier to Karnataka to defeat Tipu. Okay. Similarly, Siraj-Dowlah also lost war, the same reason. And so I'm not propagating war, but I'm just saying if you have to protect yourself from all kind, whether it's a war, whether it's a now the virus, or whatever, you have to have science and technology and research to be done, and then you protect yourself. Today it looks like not a war, but war against the virus or virulent that we are certainly facing. It's a virulent, not even full-fledged virus. So that is what tells you that how important is science and technology. And I wish that all of you take forward SNT, and SNT is not about physics, chemistry, maths, and biology. It's also about literature. So those who are in the humanities, commerce, also you can contribute to science and technology in a different ways. So we want to see the whole ecosystem of commerce graduating, working towards SNT or literature, because those who are good in literature also can contribute to SNT. So all of us together, whether it's a commerce, whether it's a literature, whether it's a science and technology and engineering, a STEM that we talk about, mathematics. So we all need to work together to see a better India tomorrow, which is good for the humankind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. The development of science and technology in India has given us the confidence to be self-reliant or Atmanirbhar. Now I kindly invite our chief guest, Shri Manoj Kumar Mishra, Secretary, Electronics and IT, Science and Technology Department, Government of Odisha, to address the gathering.
Very good afternoon to all of you. I think the more erudite people have already spoken before me. So I'll not repeat those things. But I don't have very happy things to share with you. In terms of science, we say big things. India did discover zero. I don't think we have traveled much beyond zero, even today. How many scientists from India have got Nobel Prize? We are celebrating one for 75th year. That's about it. We need to know where we are, especially if you are from the eastern part of the country. The last statistics that we saw, 20% of our children are taking science, only 20%. In southern India, it is far bigger, mainly because they do engineering a lot. So when Professor Basu talked about STEM, STEM means science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. So STEMM. So in STEM, the South India is doing far better. It is almost like another country. The East India is way, way, way behind. Only 20%. So all of you who are either physically present here or listening on the virtual mode, you are blessed to that your parents have allowed you to take science and you have been given away. I will not mince words. I'm not known to mince words much because I'm not a very good speaker, but I tell exactly how I feel. Science is for common people. Science is to solve problems. We in India, with 1 billion plus people, and the entire world now, is facing a humanitarian crisis in terms of not getting enough food to their people, not getting enough energy, and at the same time, creating havoc in terms of environment by creating energy from the wrong sources. In 30-35 years, the North Pole will be bereft of ice. So this is where we are when we are talking about science. So I think all of you have a responsibility that you have been lucky to get a break. I'll tell you why you are lucky also. It is you who should propagate this amongst your friends, amongst your uncles, aunties, everyone, and especially make a mindset where I even see here, it is predominantly boys on this side, girls will sit on that side. And in science, if I say that in Eastern India, it is 20% people take science, of that girls would be 5%. So this is where we are. The good part is in this state, 50% are women and only 5% have studied science, yet we are here. So imagine the leap that we can actually take if 50% of the girls start studying science. So we have a lot of opportunity, but I still say that science is for common people, mainly because it solves problems. I have nothing against humanities and commerce. I think commerce is an application. It is not a branch or body of study. Humanities is, and as some of my predecessors told you, there is a convergence of science and humanities happening, but it is not happening in India. It is happening in USA. Why it is happening? So you have a chip that you have in your mobile phones. So how many dots you can put in that chip, how many microprocessors can go into that chip, defines how small your phone can be, defines how you will be able to put up different electronic gadgets. So this designing, students from science are not very good at doing, but students from humanities are doing fabulously well. So if you are talking about Microsoft and Google's, they pay more money to that very erudite humanities student, not necessarily we humanities students. But that happens in that area when you have arrived there. In our culture, humanity has a value nobody can deny. But when we are facing problem of hunger, would you like to listen to Lata Mangeshkar or see Michelangelo, or actually try to solve a problem by increasing productivity of rice cultivation? That's the question we are at. India has a problem. The world has a problem. And it is on your shoulders that you solve some of these problems. Problem solving takes effect through science. Science doesn't necessarily mean only science. It's the entire STEM, it's the mindset of science that solves problems. So when somebody, say for example, Mark Zuckerberg, he gave you Facebook. So he had a scientific mind. to solve a problem. People are not connecting to each other. The world has become big. I didn't know where my school friends were. He found out a problem. And then once you identify a problem, he found out a solution. He became a billionaire. It's not a wrong thing. He found a problem, he found a solution. How many of you can find a problem which you can solve? Maybe not today, maybe after 10 years, you should be able to do it because the education gives you that opportunity. That is why I said in the beginning that you are lucky ones. That of the 20% that you have got this chance to study science, dedicate yourself to questioning, as Professor Das told you, keep asking questions, keep finding out problems and keep finding out how you will solve a problem. Our theme is Vigyan Sarvatra Pujyate. It's not a statement of fact. It's a statement of wish. It's a statement of aspiration. We would like science to be worshipped everywhere. But today, is it done? It is not done. India does produce a lot of engineers, mainly because engineering solves a problem. What is that problem that engineering solves? Can anyone say? Jobs. A quick job you can get if you get IT, get into KIT, and he will be able to guarantee you a job. At least you will get 60,000-70,000 rupees a month. That is why people do engineering, not necessarily to solve problems of any kind. This is a huge problem we have. We have a problem of unemployment. Can science solve this? It can. If we can invest in technologies which are going to solve agriculture, which is going to solve the main issues which are underlying the entire country. We keep seeing only part of it. We are in KIT, it's a very good auditorium. We are not seeing the other side. If you come across Bhubaneswar to this place, you will find many slums. Solving their problem is our job. So all of you kids who are here, take it as a challenge to identify some problems. Write it in your diary. 5 problems that you think are existing are not solved, and try to solve them. And I'll keep giving examples because I don't have much of a background to give you a very interesting speech, but I'll give you examples. Uber and Ola. That guy is a multi-billionaire now. What did he solve? He solved that people, when they go from one place to another, let's say I go to Delhi, how do I get a vehicle? So I either have to telephone some agent, then find out, or hackle with the auto driver. So people don't like to do all these things. So he made an app that you should be able to buy through your app. You can guarantee that a cab will be waiting for you. We never thought that's such a big problem. We can go to the station in Bhubaneswar and we can find 20 autos and we can ask, bhaiya 100 rupees kyun loge, 80 rupees mein kar do. That is how we used to solve problems. So the greater problem was people never wanted to interact and get into that space. So he solved a problem, you see where they are. So if you can solve problems, identify problems first. At your age, I expect you to identify problems. Every day, you see Amazon becoming what it has become. It is because we used to struggle to get milk at our home. We had problems. Every one of you would have seen that our mothers would be heckling with that milkman, saying that you have put more water in the milk. The guarantee of a branded product was not there in many of our places. So these problems are solved through a platform like Amazon, where the branded products are available at affordable prices. The second part of my speech, I wanted to tell you how science and technology are same. Though there can be different applications which form the technological side of it, but always think in terms of both of them as together. We discovered what? I'll give you 2 examples from science. We discovered DNA when? All of you are science students, I'm very sure. Can you raise your hands who all are science students? Science, engineering? The front are school children, so they will not say, most of you. So all of you are exposed to science. So DNA was discovered in the year 1860, if I'm not wrong. I forgot to Google it. When was DNA mapped? We knew DNA exists, but when did we map it? We mapped it in 1987, when the world built supercomputers. You need computational power to get into a gene, to find out how many things are there that we cannot do it mechanically, manually. So technology, though we knew the underlying knowledge of science, technology is required to make it useful. So because we have mapped DNA, because we know how a ribosome looks, because we know how the entire intricacies of a cell, Today, even we can create vaccines. Without this, vaccines would not get created. So this is how technology comes close to science. We all know planets. We have 9 planets in the solar system. Can anybody take a guess? I'll not ask pinpointed questions. This is not a class. I am sure you are all bored to death by now. When was the first planet outside the solar system discovered? You would think it is 100 years back, 200 years back. When was the first planet outside the solar system discovered? It is in 1991. Just now. Why? You can discover stars because they emit light. You did not have technology to look at the planets which are in those systems which are dwarfed by the light of their suns. So therefore, today we have 4,000 planets outside the solar system discovered. Maybe in a time in your generation or your next to next, we may find even humanity or living forms outside the solar system. So we knew that stars are there, planets are there, but it took us to right up to 1991 to find one planet outside the solar system. Technology is helping implement science at a much vigorous, accelerated state today. And all of you are lucky that you have tremendous amount of exposure to technology. Take a pledge that you'll write problems that comes to your mind in your diary, and maybe when you are my age, at that time, go back to the diary and see whether you made an honest attempt to solve a problem. You can pick up a job you by doing an engineering, have a good life. But I'm telling you, you'll never be a billionaire if you take up a job. So be enterprising, start finding out what are the problems you can solve, and have a mindset of a scientific temper. Just keep questioning, as my erudite seniors told you, keep doing that. I would like to thank Mrutyunjay Babu for hosting this beautiful event. There's a 7-day event that we are doing, the Science Week. Participate. There will be many lectures which will inspire you. I still remember 3-4 lectures which I had heard when I was a young kid. There will be very, very erudite people speaking about very interesting things. And engage yourself whenever there is an opportunity to where you can ask a question, do ask. And when I say that, I really mean it. Before I end, I can take a couple of questions if anybody has any questions. Anyone? Don't sleep. Wake up. If you don't have questions, I'll just give you one suggestion which I think will appeal to you. All of you have access to Netflix and Amazon. See Rocket Boys. I think it is on Sony Live. It will be very, very interesting. Then you will know what sirs talked about Homiji Bhabha to Abdul Kalam. See Rocket Boys on Sony Live. Thank you so much for having me. All the best for the next 7 days.
Thank you, sir, for your inspirational talk. So his take-home message is see Netflix, see Rocket Boys. So almost at the end of this inaugural session, I invite Dr. Prashant Kumar Singh, CEO of BCKIC, for proposing a vote of thanks.
Dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais, students, colleagues, and friends who have joined today, and all the colleagues who are joining through online mode. I feel honored and privileged to give this vote of thanks. This is a week-long celebration which is getting inaugurated today. To start with, the program in Bhubaneswar is getting very much organized in the edges of Science and Technology Department, Government of Odisha. And today Manoj sir also talked extensively about the work which we might be doing to identify the problem, solve the problem. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words and inspiring the young students. We also had discussions from S. Basu sir, and the focus was more on the annals of the science, how the country has worked over the millennia. I think he went back to the first 7th century to highlight what we have done in the past and inspiring to the students, and definitely we can do a lot in the future. Thank you very much, sir, for giving the annals of history, science history to the students. Vibhuti sir, very good talk on giving an inquisitive thought process to the students so that they can build up their future, build up their thought process, build up their reasoning to understand scientific process and how it can be applied. Ashok Das sir, again, in detail about talking about inquisitive process. I believe I will be, it is very, very important to talk about 1 week and lot of work getting done by Regional Science Center, lot of work getting done by ISRO, lot of the work getting done by ORSEC. I thank all the organizations for organizing this conference for a week. I will request all of you to please visit the museum, please visit the exposition, try to learn the new things. There are bus, which is called Space on the Wheels, which will be available on 27 and 28. If you need anything, you can visit vigyanpujyate.in website, and there most of the information will be available. The information is also getting shared through WhatsApp groups and other places. So if you need any information on the week-long program, please reach out. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Prashant. Now, almost at the end of our inaugural session, we have learned so many nuggets of knowledge today in the beginning of this Science Week today. Unless and until we don't identify problems, solutions cannot be obtained. And we need all fields and all kinds of people to collaborate for problem solving. National Science Week provides an opportunity to acknowledge the contributions of Indian scientists to the world of knowledge. It also aims to encourage an interest in science pursuits among the general public and to encourage and inspire young people to be fascinated by the world we live in. Vigyan Sarvatra Pujyate. Why? Because Vigyan Sarvatra Ramante. Vigyan sab jagah hai. Science is everywhere. So thank you all for your august gathering and presence. The science exposition for the Science Week is being conducted at KIT International School. The expo contains pavilion from DRDO displaying tanks and missiles, Odisha Remote Sensing Application Center, National Innovation Foundation, and their displays. The expo is open till 28th February 2022, and audiences are encouraged to visit the expo. Students coming by school and college buses will board their bus and move to the expo. And thank you all for your presence in the inaugural session of the Science Week Festival. Thank you all. I request the guests to stay back.
Thank you. I think the students, those who have come in the bus, all of you go to the, I think, the international school. The exhibition will be there, and your refreshment is done, arranged there. Now, others like IMA students and all the guests, please stay back with us. We'll have a small refreshment at the backside of the auditorium. Thank you. The students can be taken by the teachers to the international schools. Thank you.